My name is Daniel Westbrook, and today we're going to talk about surgical demolition. Now, what I mean by surgical demolition is using precision demolition techniques in order to preserve certain portions of the project. In this case, the cove molding in this dining room. Okay, so what we're going to be doing here is actually expanding this opening, and it's really critical to use careful demolition techniques in order to preserve the cove on the other side where it's a finished room. The way we're going to accomplish that is we're going to insert an LVL header up in here, and then once that's installed, we'll be able to cut the wall out from below without creating undue agitation to the finished wall on the opposite side. Here's the header that's going to go in, okay? And this is an LVL. It's 1 3/4 inches thick, so it doesn't go all the way through to the back side of the stud, and that's important, and I'll show you why in a second. Also, it's 9.5 inches tall. Now, the header is going to go right in. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but we're going to take the stud and we're going to cut out a section of the stud. But what we're going to do is we're going to leave intact the back side of it, so that when I make my cuts, the whole wall all the way down is being supported by the back side of the stud that we're not going to cut out at this time. The other thing is I'm not just measuring this exactly at 9.5, okay? I'm actually making it 9 3/4. Now the reason for that is because I don't know how straight these top plates are, and I want my header to go up into here. So if I make my cut a little bit bigger, then I can actually put shims underneath it and tighten it right up to the plates above. Okay, so what I've done is I've got my skill saw and I set the depth of the blade to the depth of the header piece, and now all I need to do is simply cut out all of these sections. We're going to do that right now. Sometimes you got to be careful because you don't want to agitate it too much. Point is, get the meat out so that we can start inserting our header. Okay, I just finished dressing these cuts with the Sawzall. These are all cleaned up and ready to receive the beam. So my next step is going to be to measure the beam, slide it in there and test it, and make sure we're good with our depth. Now, you can see how by cutting out those C-cuts in the top of the studs, that the whole wall is still intact. So by slipping the beam in now and securing it to the studs, it solidifies this upper section, which allows us to cut off the lower section. So we're going to secure the beam and make sure that it's nice and flush. That's our next step. And I can just simply, very gently, tighten it up, like so. Okay, so now I'm going to install my studs for where my wall is going to get cut out. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start knocking out the back side of the plaster because I need a flat surface in here in order for my stud to go in full depth. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the stud to the lath. So I'm just applying the glue. Okay, I'm installing this 2x4 on the finished side of the wall here to help hold this lath and plaster together against the studs that we installed on the other side. And so all I'm going to do is simply use some screws through the wall and into the stud on the other side. You see how nice and tight it holds that? I'm going to use a bimetal blade. See how those teeth are small compared to the blade with the axe? See that? So I prefer to use this because it's less agitation on the wall, creates less vibration. It's going to be slow, but we'll get it done, preserve the wall on the other side, and so here we go. Okay, so you can see that the cut has been made and the wall is loose and Cannon's holding it on the other side. I'm going to push it towards you just right about there. And I want to point out what we did. You can see there's the stud. You can see that this is connected to it. And this is all self-supported now. And the cove on the other side has been maintained. So our next step now is going to be to cut this down, break it up, get it wrapped in plastic, out into the dumpster, and we'll show you the final product in a minute. Okay, so now the wall has been removed, all the dust and everything cleaned up, and you can see behind me a final framed product where we were able to save the cove on the finished side of the room, and using surgical demolition, we've actually saved money in the end. My name is Daniel Westbrook. We'll talk to you soon. For more of Done Solutions, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment box below. We'll talk to you soon. Bye now.